Look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. I'm going to make a real brief statement, and then I'm going to turn it over to Monty and Dell for their comments and your questions. But I did have just a few things to say. First of all, we're not happy, we're not satisfied with the 27-win season, but we saw a lot of positive things from this team, things that we needed to see in year one of building a championship caliber basketball team. We saw the acquisition and the development of a core of young players. Anthony Davis and Austin Rivers, Ryan Anderson, Robin Lopez, Gravis, Brian Roberts. All of these players are guys that improved significantly during the course of this season. We saw the beginning of the culture and the values that we wanted established for our team. Playing hard all the way to the end. Having players with intelligence and high character and being involved in our community. We have some other things as well that we'll establish. We saw a team that fought adversity all season long. Eric Gordon from the beginning, he missed 40 games. Jason Smith missed 30 games. And I think Anthony missed 18 games. We were at full strength for only 22 games this season, and I believe our record was 11-11 during those 22 games. Yet, there was no complaining that we were shorthanded. That was never used as an excuse, and our guys just went out there and played hard every night. We learned a lot from this first season in terms of myself and our ownership. And I think most importantly, we absolutely have the right head coach in Monty Williams. He's everything that we're looking for to lead our basketball team. We absolutely have the right general manager in Dell Demps. He and his staff made a number of significant moves in this last off-season, and we're looking forward to having a great off-season plan from him, his staff, and Monty as well. And finally, on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Benson, Rita, our ownership, we want to thank all of our fans who were so steadfast in their support for our team this season. We have a great future in front of us. There are great things to come. We have a new identity in the New Orleans Pelicans. We're going to have a great new practice facility in Metairie. We're going to have an improved arena, and most importantly, we're going to have a team that our fans and our city can be proud of. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dell.
First, I want to say thank you all for coming here today. I'll be real brief. Just want to go over a couple things, we thought in our eyes of how the season went, this season in review. First, I really believe that the future is bright. Sitting here with Monty and listening to Mickey, we're all on the same page. I really believe that, we elected to go with a young group this year, and we got an opportunity to see all of the players on the roster play this year. And in the coming days, weeks, we're going to have an evaluation of each one of those. And our plan is to add to our young core group. There will be some changes, but I think we're really happy with the young core that we have right now. But we're going to be looking to do everything possible to get this team to a level to compete with the best. I'm excited about the opportunities in front of us. We had the second youngest roster in the NBA this year, and we're not going to use that as an excuse, but we do want to add to that, and we thought we were able to get valuable experience this year. And through the draft, free agency, trade, we're going to have options to add to our roster, and we're really looking forward to taking that next step. Thank you.
I'd like to first thank the Benson family for their faith in us as a unit, coaches and management. Certainly want to thank our players. They poured a lot into this season. A lot of our young guys were able to, as Dell said, get valuable experience and played in really tough circumstances for them. Some of those guys first time situations. And like Mickey said, our guys never complained, and we're looking forward to big-time growth from those players, the young core that we are excited about. We have a ton of work to do. We all understand that, and as Mickey tells me all the time, this is year one for us, and we got off to a great start. We don't like our record. We're not satisfied with that, and we all have to get better. Our players understand that. I understand that. I'm excited about some things that Mickey has lined up for me this summer, so that I can become a better coach. And that's our goal. We want to make our fans proud, and we certainly thank them for their continued support. And we're going to need more of that as we go forward, because we want to have different press conferences this time of year when we're talking about wins in playoff games, and that's our goal. And we know it takes a lot of work and discipline and sacrifice, and we're certainly looking forward to that. So thank you all for coming out, and I guess if you guys have questions for us, Harold will handle that.
Any questions for Monty or Del?
Well, what is your take on Eric Gordon? Do you anticipate him being here next year? Will you entertain any trade offers for him during the summer?
What was the first question?
You anticipate him being here, and will you listen to trade offers for him this summer?
I just make it a point, we're always going to look at every opportunity to make the team better. And so if Eric Gordon or if any other player, if a situation presented itself, I think we have to look at it. When you win 27 games, you're always looking to get better. I thought it was tough on Eric coming back from injury, not having training camp, missing a number of games, not being able to play in the back-to-backs. I thought that he really tried to fight through the situation. And, sometimes I thought that he played with pain. I know he has also some issues with his ankle. But to say if I anticipate him being back, I don't know if that's something I can answer right now, or if not to be back. I just think that, we're going to sit down and evaluate everything, look at every situation, look at every opportunity. But for a guy to come back from injury like that, I thought that, he had some ups and he had some downs, but I still think his future is bright as an NBA player.
Monty, other than a summer league, what young players are going to be in structured off-season? I know Anthony's supposed to be what other players are going to be in structured off-season workouts?
Actually, all of our guys. We believe that any NBA player who wants to get better, the door is open here in New Orleans to be a part of our program. Now, they may not be under contract with us, but we feel like an open gym is a great invitation, and it says a lot about what we do here. All of our young guys are going to be back doing foundational things in about 3 weeks, as far as weightlifting and working on specific parts of their game. But even the guys who aren't under contract, they have an opportunity as well to be around. And so we don't want to close the door on anybody. We feel like that creates a great environment when we have a lot of players in our gym. And so, guys like Al Farouk, who's a free agent, he still has an open invitation to be around our coaches, and we're going to do everything within the rules. I don't know all the rules, and I'll abide by all of them as Dell and his staff tell me I'm doing something wrong, but we certainly want to make our gym available to every player.
Do you have a firm date to begin that program?
Yeah, we have I don't have the schedule in front of me, but we just did it last week where we went over our summer schedule up until the start of the season. We have it laid out for all of our players, and it changes. Guys have weddings and they have different things in the summertime where they have to go and be a part of those family events. But we do have a schedule, and it starts in about 3 weeks.
Can you enlighten us as to, is it 2 or 3 times a week, or?
It varies. It's sometimes it'll be 2 times a week, but to start, it's usually 3 to 4 days a week. And we usually give the guys the weekend off. But a player could come to us and say, "Coach, I got this." We let that guy go because we don't want to get in the way of what they're doing in the summertime, but our program is pretty focused in the summer. And we always say the summertime is about the players. The season is about the team. And so right now we got to make sure that we do everything we can to make our players as individuals get better.
Have you had to encourage any specific players to attend these sessions, or?
No, it's a weird deal. I mean, you guys know better than I do. Before Dell and I got here, nobody stayed here in the summertime. Now we have guys who live here in the summer, and so we don't have to do it as much anymore. You know, we've been able to encourage guys to even get together and go to a different city, like San Antonio last year, where the coaches didn't really have a lot to do with the work they did on the floor, but our guys got together as a team and went to San Antonio. So it's getting better. Is it where we want it? No, not yet. But we certainly believe our practice site and that atmosphere on Airline is going to have a lot to do with it getting better.
Dell, what type of player personnel can really help this franchise moving forward next season? What areas do you most need addressed?
You know, I don't want to, you know, tilt my hand right now. I think there's a lot of, you know, other teams that'll be listening to this press conference, and I don't want them to use that against us. But what I'll say is that Monty and Mickey and I will all sit down, and we're going to really evaluate the team and address those needs. You know, we got 3 ways we can do it: draft, free agency, trade. We're going to look at every opportunity we can to make this team the best possible team we can make it moving forward.
Dell, you mentioned free agency, the fact that you guys do have a lot of cap space this year. Just looking back at the Ariza and Beckham deal and how that really helped create that cap space.
You know, when we made a decision last year to trade those 2 players and go with the young group, that set us up for the future. And we actually had to take a step back to take 2 steps forward. And we feel like we worked really, really hard to get that opportunity to use that cap space this summer. And so we really want to maximize that opportunity. And so, you know, we have some big decisions to make moving forward. But, you know, when we did make the decision, you know, to have a young group and have a young core, you know, it was all for, you know, this summer and the future moving forward.
Yeah, when you look at the end of the season next year, it's going to be about how many wins this team has, is it closer to making the playoffs or in the playoffs. Do you think there's a greater pressure to rebuild quicker in the game than, let's say, 5 years ago?
I think your competitive spirit makes you want to do that, but also I think you have to be smart, and you don't want to rush the process. I think we're going to have some opportunities, and you know, the one thing about free agency, sometimes you don't get the guys you want. You know, it's almost like college recruiting, and so you know, we'll have our target list of players we like to acquire, and we'll hope to attain them. And you know, and if you don't attain them, then you know you have to go to Plan B, Plan C, Plan D, and you know, we're ready for that.
Coach, when will the workouts begin? What date and when will they begin? And will Austin Rivers be a part of the summer league team?
Well, like I said, I don't have the schedule in front of us. We came up with it this past week. It's approximately 3 weeks from now. It ends basically when the training camp starts, and it's flexible. As I said, I mean, we don't want to write anything in stone, and you can't practice, you know, so nothing's written in stone. So from that standpoint, it'll change as the summer progresses. But as far as Austin being in the summer league, we're going to, you know, evaluate that at a different time when myself, Dell, and Mickey sit down and talk about it.
I know you guys are focusing on the future of the team, but just out of curiosity, for fun, what would you guys imagine the mascot, or what would you guys like to see the mascot be, or maybe the name of the dance team? Got any ideas?
That's out of my realm. But I'll tell you, I get a lot of questions on that, and I go back and forth. You know, that's way over my head.
Are any of the players facing medical procedures this offseason as far as surgeries, cleanups, that sort of thing?
Not right now. I mean, you know, at the end of the season, a lot of our guys are dealing with soreness. There's a period after the season where they take some time off, and they may feel like they're okay, and they don't need it. And we haven't gotten through that period yet. But most of our guys were in good shape. But that doesn't mean in 2 or 3 weeks a guy can come back and say, hey, I'm still feeling this, and he may have to have something done. So we're just not past that period yet.
Coach, how much of a physical and mental just jump in their growth will the rookies have next year, Anthony and Austin?
I think it'll be, I don't want to put a grade on it, but that first summer is usually a time where you can sit and think about the season without the pressure of playing, and that's when guys really take a jump as far as understanding what it takes to play in this league at a high level. They'll watch the playoffs. They'll watch guys who they had success against. They'll watch guys who kick their butts and be able to understand that it's going to take a different level of work, physically and mentally, to get to that point. And the things that we stress to them all year long, they may hear it from other coaches or hear it from a different source this summer, and they come back realizing that we weren't trying to be right. We were just trying to be effective and help those guys get better. So from that standpoint, I do think they're going to make a jump just because we have good guys. All of our guys are high character guys, not perfect, but high character guys who want to get better. And that's why our gym is moving in the right direction. For me as a head coach, I kind of felt like I had to bring some of our guys along a bit slower until they were able to handle the grind of the season. And I think now is a time for them to, buckle down and understand that the work that they've done before isn't enough, and they have to do a lot more this summer to get ready for next year.
Hey, Monty, Dale was saying a minute ago, sometimes you're at the mercy of the agency,
Yeah.
draft, getting the right kind of player to help
Yeah.
the franchise rebuild as quick as you can. In terms of yourself, you're talking about self-evaluation.
Yeah.
Once the season's over. You look back on this season
Yeah.
as a head coach, what do you see that you need to improve on most as far as the jump for next season?
Yeah. Oh, we don't have enough time. I don't mince a lot of words when it comes to me getting better as a coach, but I'm always trying to do things necessary for me to become a better coach. And like I said, I'm excited about some of the things that Mickey has lined up for me as far as being around different voices and learning from people who know a lot more than I do. And I feel like I'm always going to be there, trying to improve as a coach. And during the season, I talked to a number of coaches, whether it be Pop, Coach Brown, Nate. This summer, I'm going to do some different things, maybe talk to some guys in different sports. Last year, I got a chance to sit down and listen to Manager LaRussa, and it was eye-opening, some of the things that he said that I was able to use this year, and they were simple things. And so, I got to get better, and I've always said that since I've been here. I'm going to continue to try to do that. That's not going to change, and hopefully our players can benefit from that.
When you sit down with other coaches from other sports,
Yeah.
is it more about learning how to deal with players, just professional players,
Yeah.
as opposed to X's and O's?
Yeah, because when you sit down with other coaches, especially playing in the same sport, they're not going to give you X's and O's. There's only one person that, well, two, Doc and Pop, and we all kind of share X's and O's at times. But for the most part, it's about handling situations, handling different types of players, handling the media, which I still haven't figured out. All of those things will help us become a better team, and I have to humble myself and understand that there's a ways to go en route to becoming the best coach I can be.
Any thoughts on what happened on so many games in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
When you were leading 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes to go?
Yeah.
Sometimes by double digits.
Yeah.
Close it out.
No, I think about that a lot. Obviously, it's easy to sit there and blame it on youth or blame it on whatever the players did. The bottom line is it's not just them all the time. I got to do my job as well, and I'm not going to hide from that. And at the same time, we're not playing against teams who are not trying to win. And so if you look at a lot of those games, we were playing against pretty good teams. Now, some of those games, you feel like we could have pulled them out, but we had planned on that before the season even started. I mean, it's funny how you guys never asked the question, how'd you guys beat Boston, Denver, and Memphis in a row? Everybody always brings up how we lost games in the fourth quarter when we were up by double digits. That always comes around. I think those are the things that we talked about last year before the season started, and we said, man, we're going to have some times where we're going to have some games where we're going to lose, and we could have won. And, the bottom line is that falls on me, and I'm not going to run from that. And in order for us to be the team that we're going to be someday, we got to get better in those situations.
Do you feel, though, that you need to get more experience and back up a little more to try to add a little bit more talent to what you already have for
Yeah.
players, and that might have been a problem?
Well, like we said, we don't want to say too much because other people are listening. But, I mean, if you look around the league and the teams that are doing well in the playoffs, they all have experience and depth on the bench. But that's what everybody strives for. Like we said, we wanted to go young this year and give some guys an opportunity to play with the hopes that those guys may be the guys to improve that aspect of our team. And so I think everybody's in that mode right now. If you look at the playoffs, some of the teams who are, the games are close, then all of a sudden there's a rotation change and the league goes from 4 to 12, 4 to 15 right away, and a lot of that is depth on the bench.
Can I piggyback on that too? The one thing I got to say that Monty did a great job of, he said he gave every guy an opportunity this year, and that's tough, and especially when you have a young team that's inexperienced, and you put every guy in that position so we can evaluate them. It's tough. And that first go-around, that second go-around, it takes time for these guys to learn. And you can tell them 1,000 times. And I would go to the practices and I watch the film session. He would tell them, he'd show them exactly what they're supposed to do. And then sometimes they just got to get in the game and figure it out. And mistakes happen. And sometimes you get caught up in the moment. And so he gave every guy an opportunity. Like, we have a really good understanding of every player that was on our team this year. There is no what ifs or can a guy, or no, we have an understanding. And that's a credit to him because he put every guy in a position in crunch times to play. And I don't think anyone could ever go back and say he didn't do that. And that was part of having a young team, is understanding what you have. And, there were situations where people would come and say, well, how come this guy didn't play? Why didn't this play? Well, in the big picture, we had to see what everybody can do. And he did that. And I take my hat off to him for doing that.
Given with the defensive style Monty likes to play, how important is it to get much more athletic? Because it's going to get deeper together, but how important is it to get overall more athletic?
I mean, it's an athletic league, and we will address that. And they say Rome wasn't built in a day. And I said we don't want to take any shortcuts, but we're going to get this thing right. It's a process, Would we like to win a few more games this year? Yeah, but we understood it was going to be a process, and we knew we were going to face challenges when we put a team that was new and young. That's a tough combination in the NBA.
I think we have time for a couple more. Go ahead, Juan, and then one more.
Monty, how important do you think this offseason is to Braves? He exploded on the scene this year. Call out my surprise, show you the play. In terms of being this team starting to point guard for years to come, how important is this offseason?
Well, Graves is no different than Anthony or Robin. I think all of our guys have to understand that, and I said this to them in Dallas when we lost the last game. I said, look, the work that you've done to this point isn't enough. That's a reality for all of us, coaches included. And Graves certainly got better this year, and he played well for us. And even surprised us. We didn't think he was going to have this kind of a season, and yet he knows he has to get better, understanding situations, getting better on the defensive end. But that's no different than anybody else we have on our team. Graves played a ton of minutes for us. A lot was put on his shoulders, and he did a good job.
How much difference do you think will the more punitive
Oh,
Help teams like
punitive.
Help, you know, when I look at, the rules of the collective bargaining, we look at the rules and we try to find a way to maximize them for us. And I think for each team it's different. And, we'll have a number of options that we'll look at, but, we look at it as opportunity. I'm one of those guys that the glass is half full. And so we'll look at it as an opportunity.
So you don't think it's going to be that much different around the league for the teams who are the quote-unquote bigger spenders?
Well, they have the different rules that came in with the new collective bargaining agreement. I think that'll change, but as far as how it'll affect us, it's hard to anticipate, because you can't control how other teams are going to spend. But it seems like even the big spenders are looking at it now because of some of the penalties that are in place. And so, but it's just hard to anticipate.
We always ask about the players and what they learned. What did you learn about yourself this year, and just where you need to grow and where you think you're all right?
I don't spend a lot of time evaluating myself. I usually hear it from other people. But obviously, as a young coach in the league, I'm going to sit down and talk with Pop and Nate and Doc and different coaches and ask them. And I usually ask those guys to be brutally honest with me about where I am, and I'll talk to Dell and talk to Mickey. But I'm certainly improving as a coach, for sure. I feel like this year was not only a year of evaluation for the young guys, but I'm sure I was evaluated as well on how to develop a program. And I found out that it is really tough. The one mistake I made, for sure, was assuming that guys knew something when they didn't. And we decided about 2 months into the season to go back to ground zero and make sure we taught everything from the ABCs, even if we had to repeat it to guys. And that was the one thing I wish I would have done in training camp. Having an understanding that some of our guys might not know that there's an 8-second rule as opposed to a 10-second rule in the backcourt. Or, we had a play this year where we had a guy throw the ball in the backcourt in the fourth quarter, and it was 5 minutes to go in the game, and we just didn't know the rule. And I assumed that our guys knew the rule, and so I made a huge mistake there, assuming that guys knew everything about the game. And then you can't do that when you're dealing with young players. And going forward, we're never going to allow that to happen again. I don't care how long you've been in the NBA or played basketball. We're going to make sure that you know every rule and make sure we start at ground zero every year.
Good. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Dell. Everyone will be in touch with you, especially as we get closer.